So the information that we're going to be reviewing, it will be recorded. So you know, as you may be stopping me or asking a question or typing anything, that will be part of the recording. If for some reason there's something that you want to be asking or sharing, but don't want it to be part of a recorded session, instead I invite you to have those conversations with me outside of this classroom, and that will make it work smoothly for us. So some details of how this class will work. Let's try another poll. Have you ever been in, let's see this, use Blackboard Collaborate before? So here's a poll saying if any of you have been here before. Have you ever used this format with Blackboard Collaborate before? It's a tool that is in our Blackboard learning management system. We are using it with a whole lot more frequency this semester. We started using it this past year, and I used it in some of my classes for optional times that students and I could get together. But this is going to be my first time that I'm doing it with a scheduled class. So looks like we're all going to be somewhat new with this. It looks like we have one person that maybe had some experience with this, and I imagine as you go along this week, you're going to be using this tool more and more. So just so we all get on the same page, along the bottom, you'll see some tools for your mic, your camera, and a tool that looks like someone's up, raising their hand, one hand's there, that if you click on that, that will signal to me that you have a question or want to share something. Sometimes, depending on what my screen, I'm able to see that or not, but when I come back, I'll be able to see, and then I'll pause and check in with you. You also, along the right, can open up and find where there is a chat section that you can type in. So you can type in any answers or questions. You can also have a way that I might be responding to that. So I'll also throughout be checking in on that part. So those are some of the key things to know with working with Blackboard Collaborate. Some of the things just to, we've already experienced that sometimes our technology does not work as we anticipate. I've had times that I've been teaching a session and I couldn't get my technology to work. So then we shifted up and we had an alternate way of working with that. Sometimes you may find that your mic's working, but your video camera is not. Sometimes you may find that your internet connection is having you go in and out. And sometimes you may find then that using the phone number to call in with the PIN is the way that you can stay connected. Know that anytime that we're going to do one of these live classes, I will have it recorded. If I'm using slides, I will put those up also. So you'll have tools to be able to catch what's happening in our class, and we'll have some sort of routines with that. So I am going to make note of when you show up here. There's going to be ways then we'll talk about as we go over the syllabus that you'll get credit for that and what to do if something happens and you can't be here. So here's what we're covering today. We're going to do some introductions. We're going to look at our syllabus so we know what to expect from this class. We're going to focus in on some of the expectations so you know how to be successful with this. And we're going to talk about a topic that I like to incorporate in this class called positivity. And then we'll wrap things up. I don't anticipate this first class to go for a full hour and 45 minutes. We're scheduled to go from 11 to 12:45. If we get wrapped up before that, then I'll hang around in our classroom, this space, and be able to check in with you all individually also. So let's get rolling. All right, so I started and let some of you know heads up to go ahead and gather a pen or pencil, notebook, so have something that you can write with, a pen nearby. If you've got nearby your smartphone, I just got something I'm going to have you stick into your smartphone. And I don't even have my textbook here. It's actually, I flaked out. I've got it around here, but it's under my stack of things. But you might have something that you want to look at for that. So go ahead, step up and go gather those things. And I'm going to do a little bit of telling you who I am, so you can get familiar with this face behind your blackboard, Corshell, and who's talking here on your camera. My name is Elizabeth Zook. That's the name you'll see pop up in your emails, and that's on, looks like that's how I've popped up in Blackboard. I go by Betsy, and I'm very comfortable with students calling me by my first name. That I grew up in a time that was familiar to me, so I'm comfortable with that. But if you prefer to call instructors by a title, I was earned my professor rank this last year, so Professor Zook is a correct term, or Ms. Zook. I don't have my doctorate, so Dr. Zook is somebody else. I have been here at Foresight Tech for the last 10 years. I have been an instructor here, and I also serve as our Human Services Program Coordinator. So that means I'm the person who also oversees the specifics of our Human Services Program and all of our curriculum with that. It means I do work 12 months of the year, so I may have had some opportunity to connect with some of you over the summer. I also assist with many students with their advising. I work with all of our faculty when we're building our classes, and involved with some of the leadership tasks within our department. In addition to working at Foresight Tech, my human services career has had a lot of variety of roles. I have worked with youth at risk. I have worked with persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities, done a small amount of work with substance abuse needs. I have worked with persons with traumatic brain injuries and other physical disabilities. I've done a lot of work in mental health. Some of those places I've worked have been as an advocate. I've worked in group homes. I've worked as a case manager. I've worked as a direct practitioner. I've also worked as a supervisor and a director of programs. And I've probably forgotten some of the places that I've worked in that spectrum. Just before coming to Foresight Tech, I had directed one of the larger community mental health programs here in our Triad area. And in that setting, I worked a lot with foster care and therapeutic foster care, along with adult mental health and services for persons with intellectual and developmental disabilities. So I tell you all of that. Oh, it looks like some sound has gone out. Let me check in. Let me know, do we have individual mic on out, or? Okay, so I'm still getting recorded. Looks like some mics have gone out. Check your speakers. And try re-entering. Okay, so I'm going to keep rolling. It looks like if somebody's lost sound, okay. All right, so it looks like we've got some techniques that are working for the sound and not. I'm going to keep rolling because we are recording. So I'm still recording. Okay, so we're going to keep going with that. So I was saying all those things that I've done as my experience, that they've been great to bring a they've been great to be able to bring to Foresight Tech and to this program. So I teach and I've designed almost 75% of our classes in our program. This is one of those that I have designed. So when I'm not teaching or working at Foresight Tech, I have picked up bike riding during the pandemic. I like hiking. I like camping. I'm a big fan of reading, and I'm also trying to do a bit of writing. So that's a bit about who I am. I'm going to have you all make notes of how a quick way to reach me. We'll follow up again on this. But let's take our smartphones and find a place that you can reach me that's not with your computer. I always carry my smartphone with me, so this is where I like to have quick phone numbers or notes for email. So I'm going to ask you to have a way to reach me that you don't depend on going into Blackboard. Sometimes you will be at a place that you need to let me know you can't get to class, or you have a question about something going on and you can't get into Blackboard. So this is going to be your way of doing that, and that's my email, and that's my phone number at my office. I do take messages with that. Because we're in the pandemic, I am working from home right now, and I'm going to give you also in the side notes my Google Voice. So let me pull up that.
Virtual whiteboard to interact. Let's take a quick tour. You will find the session menu on the left, the Collaborate panel on the right, and audio and video controls at the bottom.
Okay, so there's my Google Voice number to also add. So I use the Google Voice during the daytime, Monday through Thursday, and it's a way that you can get me by phone, and I may also text you from that if that's all right with you. So that was why I wanted you to have your smartphones to be able to put that information in, put both my email, my office number, and then look at the side notes for my Google Voice. So I'll give everyone a moment to get all that written down.
Would this be saved, like the class or whatever? Because I can't write that down.
All right, so there's a question about Teams. All right, so I am in Teams. I am still figuring out how to use for classes. So we may be able to do that. I'm figuring it out, and we'll add that to our list as if we get a virtual space for that. There was some limits on how much we could max out on using Teams. I know some instructors have been using that. So certainly, so we will be able to get, so right now I don't have that set up with students. I'm going to be looking into being able to do that. All right. Okay, so I'm going to also ask you right now to send an email to me. And I'm going to show you how you may stay in Blackboard Collaborate and do this if you're on your computers. If for some reason you're on your phone, you don't have access to your email, I want you to write down these questions, so after class you're going to be doing this for me. But I'm going to switch and show you my screen. I'm going to try to No, it's not going to let me use there. Okay. All right, so you should be able to see my sharing, and hopefully you can see my mouse moving around. And when I pull it up to the top, I can grab my screen, move it to the middle, and it opens up a new screen. And I'm going to pull it, and you see it just filled up half of my screen. So in my other half, I can open up my email. So I can be having my Blackboard Collaborate while doing something else on the other half. If you can do that, then you can send this email to me right now. If that's not working because you're using something differently right now, then I want you to take the notes of these questions that I'd like you to email to me. So I'm going to pull up those slides again. So there you should see everyone's seeing my slides again. Someone give me a note and let me know on the right if you can see my slides. Okay, good. So you got the slides. So either on the piece of paper, make a note of what I'd like you to do, or if you can do it simultaneously, do it right now. That's my email address. In the subject line, I want you to put HSE 110-900 about me. That way I can sort all of these very easily in my email. I want you to share with me the name that's you enrolled at the college with. That'll be the name that's on my roster. If there's another name you like to go by, like I'm Elizabeth, but I go by Betsy, put that down. Tell me what your career goal is. So if you have one now, sometimes people are coming into human services with very detailed career goals. Sometimes you may just be still exploring that you'd like to be in the helping professions, but you're still exploring some of those places. Both of those are good places to be. Just let me know where that is. That way, when I work with you throughout the semester, I'll have a framework to best help you. To let me know if you have a copy yet of our textbook. If you don't, that also just lets me know what I need to be making sure is in Blackboard so you can keep moving ahead with the class. Ultimately, you're going to need a copy of our textbook, but we can get by in the first weeks if you're still waiting on getting that. Share a phone number that you can receive calls and texts. If you don't want me calling and texting you, you can just put that in there now. So that is your privacy. But I'll let you know that I have found that having this information when I reach out with students has been very helpful. A lot of things can come up during a semester. Sometimes we just may skip over a deadline, or sometimes we may be stuck and not been able to get into Blackboard, and having another way that we can connect. If I know what's going on, then I can be responsive, and we don't have to sabotage a whole semester if we can be making contact. So I use it sometimes to be giving reminders. I sometimes use it when someone's missed deadlines to see if I can work with them to still stay up with a class. Sometimes people will reach back out to me and have some questions. And then the last thing, if there's anything that you'd like an instructor to know, so anything you want me to know, this is wide open. Anything that you think might be useful to me to know to help you to be successful in our class. So let's just take a couple moments to either get those written down in your notes to email me after class, or to shoot that email to me right now, and we'll have that our first communication going.
Hello.
And I think I was hearing from somebody. Do we got some questions? Or I can pause. Yeah, I think I can hear you.
Okay, so it's Contessa, and my question is, well, well, it's not really a question. I don't have a book textbook yet, so I will need whatever you can put on Blackboard
Okay.
and for the next like 24, 48 hours.
Okay, certainly. So if everyone heard, the question was not, someone did not have our textbook. So when I'm going to go in a moment as we progress this morning, I'm going to show you on my screen where I put those things in Blackboard. I can also tell you that I will embed in our first modules the pages from the corresponding part of our textbook. So you'll be able to open those up and have those. It works best when you have a textbook that you can open up and have a screen and writing. Most students find that works well. But I know that sometimes when getting started with a semester and there's been challenges with our bookstore that you may not have those in the first week. We can get by in the first module without it, and with the second module, I'll be sure to have those materials already in there. Stay in touch with me if there's any further delays, because then I'll keep making sure you've got the materials. I don't want that to be a reason that you get tripped up getting started in the class.
Okay.
All right.
Also, and I'm just being honest, like I had to pick my child up at 11 today, picking up like books and stuff. I've been listening, but I just want to make sure that I've got the email information down that you wanted to send about a career goal and what you wanted to discuss.
Okay, so I'm going to read through that list because we got some people on the phone. You're going to email me, and my email is ezook@theforesightech.edu. You're going to put in the subject line the prefix for our class, HSE, and then the number for our class, 110900,
Okay.
comma, about me. And then you're going to tell me your name and any nicknames that you prefer to go by, your career goal, if you have the textbook, your phone number, and anything you want me to know.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay? All right, so this is all still recording. Okay, so this slide here, I've got a whole bunch of things up there, and I just kept it in because I was going to kind of feel as we went along how we were going to do introductions with each other. We've got a lot of technology working in a lot of different directions today. What I want to do, this is something that I do if we were able to meet in a classroom together. And we would have ways of talking with each other in pairs, and then we may introduce each other with these types of answers. Instead, I want to try today typing this type of information in. So, but we're going to, these are going to be short answers. So who you are. You're going to say what your name is, why you're here, who's proud of you attending, and pick any of those other questions. So answer one or more of those questions on the screen. So I'm asking who you are, why you're here, who's impressed that you're here, if you know when you're going to graduate, a favorite game or toy as a child, and something big or small about yourself. I know that we got some people that are calling in, so we're going to have you pause and may just let this be for those who are typing in right now. So take a moment, answer one or two or all 6 of those questions. All right, so welcome to Hannah and to Jake and Josh. I'll tell you, for some of these answers for myself, in my era, favorite toy or game that I played as a kid. Anyone here play kick the can growing up? That was a big one that I did. Um, uh, Something big or small. Oh, someone else knows kick the can's a classic. Something big or small about myself. I've paid a lot of attention during the pandemic on self-care, and I've started some routines of going walking every morning, picked up some more bike riding. So it's been an opportunity for me to get a lot more healthier, and I've lost about 50 pounds during the pandemic. So that's something I've gone from big to small during this time. Excellent, Josh. You got your family proud of you going to school. That is great. Gabrielle, Gabby, welcome, Gabby. Jake says he's interested in career and social work. Excellent. We'll talk more about that as this semester progresses. This has been a great bridge for social work. All right, Michelle, you go by Shell. I'll make some notes here, and I'll look for these in your email. So I'll start picking up who each of you are. Mental health, Simone, that's great. There's a lot of things going on now in mental health that a lot of roles for human services professionals. Hannah's interested in working with at-risk youth. Awesome. We've got a lot of roles and things growing with that right now. Jake's looking to graduate in 2022. Sounds like a good plan. As part of this course, I will have some opportunity that I schedule and work with, invite you each to meet with me one-on-one, and we start mapping out your next classes, and I help you with aligning those for your specific career goals. You'll also be taking a class as part of your program called Orientation Lab. Some of you may be enrolled in it this semester. In that one, you plan your whole program till the end, so we can zero in on getting those 2022 graduation dates on target. Andrea's family is very proud that she's back at school. That's awesome. And Simone's proud of herself. Absolutely. Getting back in school and doing it right now during a pandemic is huge. I'm glad that you all are recognizing that with yourselves. Josh is interested in working in mental health. Excellent. Candace is looking at substance abuse. Great. I'm glad you're proud of yourself for being back here in school. Helping people is what this profession's about. So welcome, Candace. All right, and Jake, I love this, that you hate math, but your heart's for helping people. Can tell you a true story. I hate math also. I worked real hard to take as little math as possible with getting through college. So you're right in there with many human services professionals. That said, there is some pieces of math that are useful for us in our profession, and more so pushing yourself to figure out how to make your brain work for math can sometimes be a huge mental challenge that gives you a legs up whenever you're working with someone who needs help and they look at you and say, you know, you've never done anything impossible. And you could say, I got through a math class after never thinking I could. And I say that with all sincerity. I've had people that I've walked through in previous semesters talk about that. So let's not let math be our deal breaker for these careers. Sharia is here to learn to work with children in social work. Oh, excellent. Or child psychologist, and her Nana's real proud of her. Excellent, Sharia, welcome. Candace is right with you there, Jake, about math. So yes, you guys are following some of our common themes with us working here in human services. Simone's big into music. I love that. Jake was a fan of, oh, the parachute games. Those were awesome. I love the ones where you like put it up over your head and you made the big cave-like bubble. And Vera has a son that's about to or who has just graduated. Excellent. So very proud of him. And wow. So Vera says, proud because I lost myself pushing all my kids and never finished my degree, and now is inspired by her son. That's awesome. And so your son has finished his bachelor's, along with the other sons are proud. That's really a cool statement there, Vera. I'm glad you're here. Planning to graduate in May 21 and also looking at your BSN. Wow. Excellent, excellent. Saria's also a fan of music. Oh wow. All right. I'm loving it. I'm loving this is a whole different format for being able to check in with each other and to get to know each other. We're going to try some other tools as we progress in later weeks of how we can, maybe have some other live conversations with each other. But loving to hear all this stuff. Vera's a fan of kickball. Excellent, excellent. All right. I am going to move us to our next slide. Huge welcome to all of you. Thank you for participating in that and throwing out some introductions. We'll have also a way of using some of that on Blackboard. A really kind of cool thing about the Human Services program is that the students that you get to connect with here in your beginning classes, you get to keep taking classes together. And often our formats have us working and learning skills together, having discussions together, and you begin to build a support network and a familiarity with each other that you may not get in some of your other classes like the English or psychology, maybe taking those with new students each time. But when you get it hop back into a human services class, you really get to build a connection with each other. Another fun fact with that is you get to carry it on. So we have graduates that are still each other's network and support system even after they've left Foresight Tech. They may have gone on to other four-year schools to work on those bachelors of social work together, so they have a ready-made support system, or when they're out beginning their first jobs, they get to network, and they may be working with each others when they're in professional roles, calling each other up to help each other's clients. So you've gotten started with something here today that's hopefully going to carry on for you. All right. I want to shift and take a look at our class syllabus. So I'm going to talk about the basics with this, and I'm going to do it by shifting screen to go onto Blackboard. And we'll do some back and forth here of looking at some things in the syllabus and then highlighting some key parts with that. So I'm going to move my screen here. And okay. Okay, so little screen. I'm going to go into Blackboard and for our class. Okay, so let me know if you're able to see Blackboard with me now. So are you seeing us in our announcements? Okay, good. Okay, so I'm switching back forward. Okay, so you're watching along with me, right? Okay, excellent, excellent. All right, so I'm going to put this in your screen view, And when you first sign on to Blackboard, this is the announcements. So you're able to see my welcome announcement right there. We'll go over here to, we have our Start Here button and our Syllabus button. And that's the one I'm going to talk through right here, the Syllabus button. And we'll come back over on these others. Every college class has a syllabus, and at Foresight Tech, they're going to have a similar layout and some similar content. So I list here things that you can expect to see in every syllabus at Foresight Tech. If you go to another college, they'll have a syllabus also for their classes. They'll have similar things in it, but they might have some things that are specific with that college. So you scroll down, you'll find the two parts. You'll find the course-specific syllabus, and you'll find the Foresight Tech Universal Course Policies and Procedures. You should be familiar with both parts of those. The Universal Course Policies and Procedures are going to be the same for all your Foresight Tech classes. So you don't need to look at it each time, but you should look at it for the semester, so you understand for that across all your classes. Then you'll look at your course-specific one to understand the specifics for us, HSE 110. And I pulled into the wrong shell, so I'm going to exit here and realize I pulled into my online class, and you all are the synchronous one. So let me get the right one. That's why some things did look. So it's going to have similarities but difference. There's the announcement you would have seen when you first signed on today. And then here's our syllabus and the one that's specific for your class. So this is the one that you have access with in Blackboard. I'm going to click on here. And take a look. Okay. So let me check in. Everyone, were you able to see the syllabus? If I walk through it, is it going to be big enough for you? So you open up here. You'll be able to read that as I scroll up and down. Okay, so you're saying yes with that. All right, so let me go back with that and point out some things here. So every syllabus has your instructor information, and you can see that starting here at the top. You'll have at the beginning different ways that you can reach an instructor, and we'll talk through that a little bit more in depth a bit in another slide. You have information about the materials, the course description, and what you're going to learn in the class. And those are our objectives here. So in this class, we're really looking at basic skills, getting an understanding of the profession. We're going to learn some technology skills for being able to set up some papers and do some things that you'll continue with your other academic courses. We're going to look at the history of the profession, some things about theories, explore a lot of ourselves, and then also start looking at diversity. So this is an overview for some important things to get you started for later human services courses. All right. You get to scroll down and see how the course is going to be graded. This grading scale of 90 to 100% being an A, 80 to 89, that's the same across all of our Foresight Tech classes. Oh, we're still in multi-screens? Okay, let me get that figured out. Thank you. Let me see if there's another way I can get us looking at that. All right, I'm going to get us a copy in our shell here, so hang with me. Thanks for letting me know that you couldn't see everything right there. I'm going to get us a better copy. Okay. And this might not be that large. All right, so I'm going to talk through what is in the sections of this, and then I will we'll talk. I'll break down some of the expectations. So just checking in, is everyone able to see a copy of the syllabus now in front of them, even if it's a bit small? Okay, all right. So every syllabus has instructor information at the top, materials, and the learning objectives. It also will include the grading distribution, same across all the Foresight Tech classes, and then each class will break it down. Something specific for our class is we use a weighted scale. All right, so there's a question that I might be able to zoom. Hey, thank you, Candace. Found that. So now we maybe can see this a little bit better. This class has broken down and it's weighted. You're going to do 5 projects. You're going to do some assignments in each module. I'll show you, and those are a little bit unique for this class. You're going to be engaged with us by coming to these internet sessions. If it doesn't work to get to an internet session, you're going to have a way to be able to do an alternate with watching the recording and participating that way. And then I will have some other activities as we go along that if you choose to participate, those will be for extra credit. And then we have 2 exams in this one. A midterm, that is the first 4 modules, and then the final exam, which is the last, or all the modules. A syllabus talks about how you submit the work, how late work is done in the course, and talks about attendance. If you qualify for accommodations, there's specifics in there about getting those approved. And then the last page is set up with the schedule. And for our course, I'll give you the week that we're working on, what's going to be covered in class or online, the specific assignments that are due, and then the due dates. And you'll see in this class, Tuesdays are our due date. Tuesdays at 11:59 p.m. So when that's no longer Tuesday, then the item would be late. So we'll have that pattern, and we'll go all the way to the end that way with Tuesdays. And then our class is the synchronous format. So that's the syllabus. When it's real into some of the specifics, or highlight some of the specifics. So I'm going to go back to our slides. Okay, I see it. We've got Contessa here with us. Okay. So things we're going to learn are going to be skills that will give you an overview of the profession, skills for learning how to set up papers and materials for this class and other human services classes. We'll begin to introduce important topics like diversity, and we'll start exploring some of the many places that human services professionals work. You'll also do some self-reflection. You'll be doing some looking at yourself and what are your strengths and what areas do you want to keep growing in to be successful in this field. In this course, we do have a textbook, and I meant to have it so I could put it up on, show you on my camera. It's a textbook that I do have a picture under our Start Here button in Blackboard. It's available through the bookstore. I think the textbook brokers down the street also is carrying it. It's a little bit different than other textbooks. I compiled it. It is chapters from about 10 or 12 different texts that are out there. So instead of having you buy 10 textbooks and spending $1,000, I instead got permission to use the chapters from each of them that I liked and covered the topics we wanted to cover, put only those in our compiled text, and then keep the cost to be much more reasonable. It's an expensive book, since, you know, I think any book that's over $2 is expensive, but for a textbook, it's a lot cheaper. It has page numbers in it, so you can see how to move through those. If you're working with the current edition, it has tabs for each module with that. You'll pull, and it might have several articles, say, in that tab for a certain module. So we got a question that came up about it from Josh about, does Barnes & Noble have it? It is with our college's Barnes & Noble, so you can go onto our college's bookstore and get a copy with it there. It is, I think, also Textbook Brokers covers it. Also, what I will do is inside the modules, and when I go back to Blackboard, I'll try to remember, I will include in the modules the pages for it. So let me see. Right now we're in Module 1, and you don't really need it to be able to complete Module 1. In Module 2, I'll put a place in there and saying, here are the parts for Module 2. It will be then copies that you won't be able to like download. You'll have to download each page or each section separately. So it'll be a little bit more tedious. You'll ultimately want a copy of the textbook, but you'll be able to move forward that way. So look for the textbook. Keep me posted if you're hitting any glitches of getting a copy of it. That email I asked you to send me out was going to get me started at getting a feel of who has it already and who doesn't. And we'll problem solve from there to make sure that you don't miss out with that. But that's where we are with the textbook. Grading, I started mentioning this when I was telling you about the syllabus, is broken down into different weights. So it's a weighted scale. You'll have a place in Blackboard that you can monitor your grades. Exams, each of the exams, for instance, overall exams are worth 20% of your final grade. Each one is 10%. We have a handful of projects. Those make up most of our grade. You have assignments that you do in each module, and then a part of your grade is just for showing up and participating here. And again, if something blocks you from being able to participate here live, you'll have an alternative way that you'll watch the recording and do a response for that. I'm going to take a moment and go back into Blackboard and show you about this part of it, the module assignments. So let me share my screen. All right, we went into infinity mode, and now we should be in the class area, and I'm going to go under the coursework button. And I'm going to pull into Module 1. I had a little how-to video included in there. You scroll down, you get a review of what's going to be in here. And you'll see I referenced the study sheet and the checklist. The study sheet is part of each module. That's for you. That's for you to complete, to have in your notes for upcoming exams, to master the content that we want to do in that module. You do not turn in study sheets. So you can choose if you have access to a computer and want to print it out and handwrite out the answers, super. If you want to keep a digital copy and just put in your answers on your computer and save it in your computer files, do it that way. Here's a section that I included the parts that may be useful from the textbook. So this is how they will be given to you if you don't have the textbook. You can look at each of the pages that way. So I include that in there. And then this is what I wanted to highlight. This is the assignment for the module. It is a checklist. Each module, you're going to complete an online checklist. You are in charge of evaluating your work and reporting how well you did on it. It's going to look like an online test, but I'm not reading it like a test. You're the one who is telling me how you did with this. You can open it beforehand and look at what the questions are. You can come back to it later. You can do it as many times as you want while the module's open, and it's the highest grade that will apply. It's yes, no questions or multiple choice. I'm going to open it up here and take a look at it. So there's the same questions. Now, you're going to be using your own self-integrity. You're going to evaluate yourself honestly. I am going to be backseat monitoring this. So if I am seeing that I think you are giving yourself zeros when that's probably not what's going on, I'll check in with you and we'll get that corrected. But also, if I see yourself given 100% and I also see that you weren't doing everything on time or weren't doing all the questions, I'm going to check in with you and make sure that we're answering those honestly. So the questions will look something like this. Were you checking the announcements during the past 2 days? Were you checking your email? Were you checking your schedule? Did you do that study sheet? And how well did you do it? Did you do the syllabus quiz that was part of this module? And so on. So you see that they're multiple choice, they're true, false. That is how we complete the modules in this class. You are building a way of monitoring yourself, and I'm also monitoring, but I'm the backseat monitor with that. I take front seat on grading your projects, and our exams then are a different format, and then you get credit for being here in our classes. So I'm going to come on back now, and I think that's a big part that stands out different for students in this class, and I want to check in on questions related to that, on how that's grading or anything you're not sure about on that. So any questions on the grading or things we've looked at thus far? And just so I know you can still hear me. Okay, so we got no questions happening there. Okay, so hearing some no's or not hearing any questions, I'm going to keep going. Late work, makeup work. As human services professionals, we want to do our work on time. Our clients are counting on us, our bosses are counting on us, our colleagues need us so they can also keep helping people. So managing our time's an important skill as a human service professional. Meeting deadlines is an important skill with that. Also, then problem solving when we can't meet a deadline. So sometimes life happens, sometimes a pandemic happens, sometimes we get more stuff on our plate and we have to prioritize. In this class, that's also the important skill we're going to be tackling. So that first, you're responsible of knowing those deadlines, Tuesdays, before it's no longer Tuesday, getting your work in. If you miss a deadline, I don't want you then giving up. Same if you were a human services professional and you miss doing something, I don't want you quitting or giving up. I want you to step up and problem solve and figure out what needs to happen next. Sometimes it's just shooting me an email and saying, hey, I know I missed it. I'm going to get it in here in these days. Sometimes it may be me reaching out to you and we say, what do we need to do to get back on track. I've built into the syllabus, you can see then that some work will be reduced your score if it comes in then within the first 4 days after a deadline. It's reduced a bit more if it comes in within the week after the deadline. And then if more than a week has passed, I want to connect with you. I want to talk and problem solve. So I want you to reach out. We'll set up a time and we'll figure out what's going to make sense for that. So that's how we're going to tackle late and makeup work in this class. Attendance. I am taking attendance for those that are showing up here in this live session. If you show up here, you get credit for that. That's part of the course, the grade also. If you don't show up here, but you watch the recording will get posted 24 hours, within 24 hours after it happening, and do the responsive questions, you get credit then for also taking part. If you are not able to submit work for over 2 weeks, you're not showing up, you're not submitting anything for over 2 weeks, that's when we get in problem zone. That's when you may be at risk of your enrollment getting dropped. And then if it happens after that midpoint in the semester, then it may be the problem point that you would not be able to pass the course. If you've got questions about that, again, stay in touch with me. I build in that opportunity for late work because I think it's really critical for us to still be problem solving and moving forward. I build in these opportunities to stay enrolled with attendance, but sometimes if we get too far behind, then the plan will be to retake the class. And then I want to take a peek here. I'm going to go back in the Blackboard, just point out some things with the layout, some of the tools, and make sure we're set on our first assignment. So heading back over there. Let me pause there just before I switch screens. Questions on anything we've talked about with grading, attendance, makeup work. Okay, so I'm making sense so far. All right. Okay, good question. How do we get extra credit? The extra credit in this class, one of the ways that we engage is attending these sessions. So that's the core piece of the class. I think I call it class engagement or class participation. Also, throughout the semester, there'll be sometimes events that I will flag as saying, hey, this would be a good thing to do or to participate in if it fits for your schedule, and I'll give extra credit for it. So I'll post those in Blackboard. I'll let you know about those. Sometimes I also will add some additional discussion boards that we'll participate in or be involved in, and you can earn up to 5% extra credit. So if you are realizing as we're going along that you've gotten behind or not gotten the scores that you'd like on something, you think you're at a cusp of a grade, the extra might be interesting for you. I don't know exactly the schedule for those going in this fall. In prior pre-pandemic semesters, some of those events were there might be some movies or presentations happening on campus. There might be some webinars that people can sign on to. Last spring I did some that they were some online events that people could participate in, some that were outside of our class but still real good to take part in. Okay, so questions, so just ask you for it. So Candace, I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question, maybe, or Contessa said that, but was that Candace? Do you want to grab the mic and ask a question?
Yeah, sorry. I just wanted to check with you about if we cannot do the Blackboard scheduled meeting time, if we watch the video and do the work, we still get the same grade, attendance.
Right. For the purpose of that attendance part, and I think I call it class engagement or class activities. Yes, I will give you the same for our grade. And what it will involve will be watching the recorded session, and I'll have some responsive questions to it.
Okay, awesome.
And
Thank you.
Yep. And then just to follow back with Contessa's question about how do we get it, just asking for it. Yeah, you can be asking for it, or more so just staying on top of the Blackboard announcements and seeing those, and then I'll post those as we're going along. All right, so I am going to switch screens and just take a look here at our Blackboard shell again. All right, and going back in here, I want to point out our menu along the left. You'll see that many Foresight Tech classes are now using these similar names for their buttons. Ultimately, we're going to have our courses also lined up in this order. I know that we have some classes that are still evolving into this format, so they might not have exactly the same order. But you'll look for the Start Here button. That's where I want you starting your work on Blackboard. I give you a rundown, a number list of what I want you doing to start. You can see my picture, a little video from me. I give some directions about how to do a discussion board, and our first assignment is that discussion board. It's called the course entry assignment. That's going to be very important with all of your college classes, that you pay attention and make sure you do that as soon as possible when a semester opens. That's how instructors, we lock in that you're ready to begin the course. That's how you stay enrolled. If you don't get that done for a class or miss the deadline for it, that's a reason that you get marked as a no-show and you don't get enrolled or get to continue a class. So don't want that to happen. Scrolling down, there's another link to our syllabus, information about our textbook. I included a folder of some tips for working on an online format, and then a checklist. If you've done all those things, you're ready to scroll back up and go into coursework. So looking again under our left side menu, there's a button for syllabus. There's a button where I'm going to be posting a quick look at the schedule and some policies. I have a few more things to add there, so that's what I'm saying. I'll be adding some more in this first month, and we'll talk about it here then on Tuesdays. This coursework button is the one that you're going to be using most often. I've got a folder that will stick here at the top where our slides and recordings will be. So when you click on that, you're going to be able to find the slides that I used, if I used any in our first meeting, and then I'll also embed a link there for the session. That's where you'll go if you've ever missed a session. We have another link for our Start Here. Excuse me. And this is where I'll be also, I'll move this, we'll stick at the top, and this will be where our next class meeting is. So you can always go to coursework and find the link and what's coming up for our next class. And then you'll scroll down and you'll find the modules. So as we progress, you'll have to keep scrolling down this page to find our next modules. You also have a link here that may be useful throughout the semester of your campus resources. So those go to parts of our Foresight Tech webpage. You'll have spots going on down to some quick links. You can always check in with our announcements. If you remember on that module one's checklist, that's something I want you doing regularly. You have a way to reach me. I'm going to open up there. So there's information about me. There's a link to my email. Here is my Google Voice phone number. Here is when I'm going to be hanging out online, being available to help students. And there's where you can also find out more about me. That's a LinkedIn. That's a social media page. You can scroll down. I'm going to have this thing called virtual office hours. So you can use this link and in and find me, and I'm going to be hanging out in a space like this, a Blackboard Collaborate. I can tell when anyone's coming in there. I can tell if there's more than one student in there. I've never had more than one student happen to pop up at the same time. If that happens, we'll make arrangements so I can keep it private, that we'll be working one-on-one in there. I don't record anything in there. It's just a space for us to chat, answer questions, and because it's also virtual like this, I can show you things on my computer. And then here's another listing for my Google Voice number, and that's one that I use Monday through Thursday during the daytime. It forwards to my personal phone, so I keep some boundaries there that I don't want to be woken up in the middle of the night or my family woken up in the middle of the night with that. So I'll follow back up on Mondays. If you're catching me out on the weekends with that one. So over the weekends might be smoother to check in with me also by email. All right, so that's all under instructor contact. We got some other buttons here. We have a spot for the discussion board. That's another place where you can go find the course entry assignment. Great, we got a number of people have already started that. We'll use this or experiment with it a bit more as the semester continues. And then you've got a button here that's a great one that you can track. Up at the top, you're going to be able to eventually see what your total is thus far in the semester, and you can see where you're at for each of your assignments. If you have an exclamation point showing up in there, it means you've submitted something. You may want to go in and make sure you've submitted everything for an assignment, but it's still waiting then for me to grade it. All right, so I'm checking back. I heard some questions come in. All right. Someone needs video and audio. Okay, so Contessa's trying to figure out how to reach us for video and audio. So I'm finding out if Contessa's able to hear us. And okay. All right. So we got stuck in there. Maybe I wasn't sharing it very well. Let me try again for pointing out. Okay, I'm going to roll through and see if I can get this share. Okay, so you should now see that infinity screen. And now if I go in, okay. Are you able to now see Blackboard? Okay, I'm going to point out some of those things. I won't go quite in depth. The menus are over here on the left. So the Start Here button, that's what you want to, if you haven't gone into Blackboard and looked at that, be sure to do that Start Here button. You have a place always to check the syllabus. I'm going to be adding more to this course schedule and policies. Coursework. This is where you're going to have the place to find the slides and the recordings up at the top. You're going to have a place to always find our next class meeting. And you'll scroll down and you're going to find the modules. You just click on the underlined words then to find the next thing to do. You know, back over here to coursework to get it all lined up again. You got a button for campus resources. Then you have down here quick links, the announcements, all that contact information for me. So a place to find my virtual office and place to find my Google Voice phone number. You'll also have that place for the discussion board. We'll be using that as we progress with some other experiments in this class. And then this button here is real useful, My Grades. Once I start grading things in this course, you're going to start being able to see a running total here of how you're doing in the class. And you can see a list of our assignments, and you'll be able to see then your finished grade for each of those. Okay. All right. So I think you were able to see those as I walk through Blackboard. Contessa, I'm going to suggest, Contessa, that when we wrap up here, you and I hang out here in this room, and maybe we can chat, or we can get on a phone and problem solve with that. So I know that's frustrating that you're not getting into all of your systems, but we got time to problem solve with that. All right, let me see my last things I was going to work with here in our class. I'm pulling back my slides. Okay, so you should now see slides in front of you. There's me doing my thumbs up. I think what I've learned and prior students have learned is a big success tool in these classes, probably any of your classes, is staying connected with your instructor. So I'm going to work hard to be accessible to you. I have that way to pop in for virtual office hours, can talk by phone and text, or sending me email. Email, I'm checking Monday through Friday. I work hard to get back within 24 hours on email. Google Voice is that Monday through Thursday, and virtual office hours, I have those drop-in times. So I certainly know that you want to connect with me possibly at different times with that. Do all those ways of reaching out to me. I'll problem solve. I have ways with some pre-notice to be able to make appointments. I know people have work schedules and family schedules that we may want to pick some other times to connect that way. Email also can be a good way if our times don't work well. I'll also let you know those virtual office hours, I blocked out to have time on Tuesday. What's Monday, Tuesday, and Thursdays between 1 and 3. So right after we finish this class, my whole schedule is to be here and working with students. So that might be a convenient time for some of you to just stick around and we can check in. Some key things I'd like to throw out when we're getting started this semester. I think it is important to believe these things, that you have an important reason that you are here. You're here at Foresight Tech, you're here in this class, you're here looking forward at your career. That's important to underscore in every task that you're doing. You are moving into becoming a role model. Some of you flagged some of those people that are proud of you being here at college. You are moving towards the helping profession. You are going to be an important piece of where our communities are heading. You have skills already that are going to assist you to being successful with this. And then the resources and the skills that you're developing are already on their way for your success. Now, you're going to have times that obstacles are going to hit. We've had some here just hit today. You know, I pulled into some screens and you guys couldn't see them, and we had to figure out what was happening there. Sometimes we have bigger obstacles, sometimes we have smaller with those. That's part of the journey, knowing and believing and moving ahead with those. So your work is going to drive that success. I encourage you to do all these things. That copy of the syllabus, so it's in Blackboard, put it somewhere else. If you've got a printer, print it out. If you don't have a printer, don't fret, just file it somewhere else in your digital files. Look to spending at least 6 hours a week for this course. You're going to have some weeks that it's less, but if you have at least 6 hours, then you get, and you get through everything, then you get that free time. If you only schedule yourself 1 hour to get everything done, it's going to be hard to fit it all in. Make this commitment to yourself. You've kicked off something here. Put yourself as a priority for being successful. Give yourself some time to get into these sessions. I know we got busy schedules, but if you can kind of pre-think that you have time to turn on the computers, get the cup of coffee, get your things and be settled in, you'll feel stronger with getting started each week. Keep a calendar. Check in early for help. We're going to talk about college resources as we progress with this class. Use them. You're paying for them. They're there to help you. And make some practices to be reading and writing every day. I'm going to get you kicked off here quick on one piece with that. But reading and writing and communicating are going to be powerful thinking for you to make this shift to being a human services professional. All right, so positivity journal. This is where I want you to pull out that notebook, pen, and paper, and we're going to take a breather from listening to me, and I want you writing to yourself. I want you to write down 3 things that you are grateful for. I want you to write 3 things you like about yourself. I want you to think of somebody that helped you this week. And then I want you just in a couple sentences, why does your success matter? You're writing this just to yourself. Well, I'll invite you to choose if you want to share anything in a moment. But right now, this is all in your words to you. You don't have to spell anything right. You can scribble it so only you can read the handwriting. But answer these questions. Those of you who are just listening, I think some of you aren't, are just doing the audio. Yeah, pen and paper, write down 3 things that you're grateful. Then write down 3 things you like about yourself. Write a short blurb about somebody who helped you this week. Or write a short blurb of why, that answers why does my success matter. Again, these notes are just in your own notebook. This will be a type of exercise we'll do each week. We may open up our classes with some of these as we're settling in. We may do it midway as a change of pace midway through our class meetings. Everything you're writing is just for you, but I will invite you, if you want to type in on the chat box anything about what you are writing. So if you want to say, I am grateful this week for, and add it to our chat list, I'm inviting you if you want to do that, but that will be your choice. If you want to share anything about someone who's helped with you this week that you're grateful for, or anything that you're writing about why my success matters. Ah, it made me smile, Candace. Excellent. So Candace shared some great things to be grateful for. So grateful for family, health, and made me smile at your new human services class. So thanks for sharing that.
Sorry, I didn't realize hitting enter was gonna, let me enter and then go to the next line. So sorry, it
Oh,
posted all separately.
oh, nope. They all came right after that, so they read very well. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks for
you.
sharing that.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any that they'd like to share? Okay. Oh, that's a great one, Hannah. Ready to get back to regular schedule. So our routines are also different right now, but getting the schedule. Lots of gratefulness for that. Thanks for sharing that, Hannah. Excellent, Andrea. Thanks for sharing that. So Andrea is grateful that she made it into this class, that she almost missed it. Well, glad you're here. Excellent. Hmm. All right. Well, go. Let anyone who wants to continue to share or post things from that positivity journal. We'll have different prompts each week and have some time to do that sort of self grounding and reflection as part of our classes. All right, Simone's added that she likes about herself that she's a go-getter, she's self-motivated and very articulate. Those are great traits and skills, Simone. Those are going to be strong for you going into this profession. So thanks for sharing that. And Contessa shared that she's grateful for life, wisdom, and discernment, and loves the fact that she has a good heart despite of ill experiences she's countered in her life, and that's loving and kind. Thank you, Contessa. Those are also great traits to have that are going to be strengths going into the human services profession. So thanks for sharing that. Hmm. Well, I posted our last slide here. And it's just kind of a summary of what we've tried to tackle here today. That we met, you met me, and we had a chance to interact with classmates in this format. And we reviewed our syllabus. We looked at some of the expectations and structure for the class. And I'm just going to highlight then what you have for this next week is under the Start Here button, the course entry assignment, and then that Module 1 is open. Oh, Contessa's adding some great stuff. Thanks for pulling that in there, Contessa, to be very strong. That is an extra important trait to be having, especially in light of our current world. So I'm going to pause things right now. I mean, this will wrap us up. We are going to have this recorded. So I'll be posting this in the next 24 hours. And then I'll be also available here in this space after after class for anyone who wants to stick around. And then I'll be moving also into my office hours. So I'll be available between 1 and 3 online with that. Oh, Vera, thank you for sharing. Vera is grateful for her knowledge and for family and humanity. Grateful for life, health, and strength and ability to learn. And caring, compassionate, and desire to grow. Living with the conscious. Well said, Vera. Thanks for sharing those. All right, so I'm going to still be around here, and anyone who wants to just post any questions, I'm here to answer those. Anyone who's turned on their mic and want to ask questions, I'm here to answer those. And if you're ready to move on to your next classes or responsibilities, you can head on out. To exit from our class, you just can exit, click the X at the top right corner. And don't forget to send that email to me. So if you didn't get that out, to remember that, the email with questions from earlier. And don't forget your course entry assignment. And don't forget to get started on Module 1. All right, Sharia added, grateful for support team, Nana and boyfriend, and a part for class. Also to be a part of the class and what she'll learn along the way. Thanks for sharing that, Sharia. That's great. All right, so Contessa asks that she's got a class coming up and wants to check in about camera issues. All right. I'm going to throw out some ideas, Contessa, and you are able to hear me. Let me know, type in yes if you're able to hear me, and I'll do it verbally, some ideas. Okay. There's buttons along the bottom that show the mic and the camera on and off. That's one place for doing it. Other places, if you've been using this and those are not working on your specific computer and mic, what we may want to do is have you check in with the IT support center. They're able to assist. So if we think it's your specific computer and tools, there might be something that we need to sync the software that they are recognizing those. Ways to do that are there. Oh, okay, it says you've been blocked from the settings. So there may be a way to be opening those up. There is buttons along the left of our class for the IT support center. They're also in the foresightech.edu website. There are ways to call them by phone or to put in a ticket and they'll reach back out to you by phone. So I often recommend if you can get a ticket in, that might be easier because then you can tell them a time. You can also, if your schedule allows and you feel comfortable, you can take physically your computer to the bottom of the Allman building and they can open up your equipment and click through it. That's what I think would be useful, that we talk to someone and that there's something probably happening with your software, with all of that. If you get stuck with any of that or want to walk through any of those steps, please reach out to me and I can work with you for problem solving. But I think we definitely want to pull in the experts from the IT support center for you. All right, so checking the last things coming up here. Candace is thanking them for the class and feeling comfortable, helpful, and understanding. So excited. I'm excited to have you here, Candace. Great. Contessa's going to send an email now. You don't have to CC me, Contessa. So just go ahead and do that. If you want to keep me posted if you're still having problems next week with that. But hang in there. They are really they're getting a lot busier right now, but hang in there because they're really helpful when you can work with them. So good with that. Vera's had Blackboard app on the iPhone. It's helping me. I can't figure out what's wrong with my desktop and Blackboard. Okay, Vera, I definitely feel you. That's frustrating. I would suggest also what I had just said with Contessa of blocking out some time to see if you can get the IT support desk to help you with that. For this class, we don't have any big time zapping assignments in the first week, so this might be a good way to block out some time and get comfortable with how your equipment's working with the college's equipment. Keep me posted if you're still getting blocked with that, but I think the ITMS Support Center is going to be the best resource on that. Simone asked about starting Module 2 until the 25th. Great question, Simone. Sorry I didn't pull that up. I am going to be opening that back up, and I'll throw out an announcement that you'll be able to get started with that. So super for prompting me with that. I like to make sure everyone doesn't get lost and gets on those first ones first, and then I'll be opening that up. But I'll get those. I'll start opening up modules so you will be able to work ahead. Thanks for prompting me on that, Simone. So Contessa, thanks Contessa for joining us today. Vera's asking about accessing Blackboard, just can't access the video of the class through Blackboard. Okay, all right, so I'm seeing that you're able to verify, I'm understanding right, you're opening Blackboard, but when there's a video part, it's not working on your desktop. Not sure off the top of my head what might be going on with that. I don't use videos as the only way to get some of the information. So maybe the videos that are inside the modules are what we're referring to. But that may be something that we also want to check in with IT if there's something happening with your specific computer that could be addressed. All right. Okay, and Simone's saying that she can't hear me. Okay, I'm going to answer that. All right, I'm going to answer Simone's question by text. Okay, so I think I got Simone's questions answered there. I'm going to scroll back up and see if there's any other questions hanging out in here. Let's see if people are starting to move away. Okay, so I've got Simone and Vera still in here. Okay, so still checking in, Vera, that I'm not sure I had a very clear answer for you about accessing the video of the class through Blackboard on your desktop. There can be a variety of reasons going on with that there might be a speed with the internet on your desktop. There may be something with the links going on with that. Or there may be something with the specific browser that you're using. Using Chrome browser tends to work strongest with Blackboard, so if you're using something else, Chrome or Firefox, So if you're possibly using a Microsoft Explorer, that might be a problem with accessing some things in Blackboard. Again, I'd recommend putting in a request to the help desk and blocking out some time to see if you could solve that. That will probably help you across all your classes if the videos aren't working well. If there's anyone else, yeah, looks like Larry's joining us.